Developers wouldn't dream about deploying their app without running unit tests. Yet, Power BI developers on a daily basis deploy their reports, clicking around and checking just few visuals. Until now, I want to show you SemanticOps Test Runner app which I developed, which builds on top of my SemanticOps MCP and allows you to set up different kinds of unit tests for your semantic models, from checking DAX assertions to row-level security, to make sure that your deployment doesn't break anything. Let's dive right in. Once you install and open Test Runner app, you will be met with connection screen. Obviously, you need to connect to the model to run tests against it. And here you have few choices. You can either connect to desktop model, through connection model, to some service model if you are logged in, or it also integrates with external tools in Power BI desktop and you can open it from here and it will connect to active model automatically. Let me come back to the app. Let's connect to MCP engine demo model and you see the overview which shows you latest results. Let's do run. And here you can see that one test failed, 23 passing and 2 skipped. You can also see some risks, some flaky tests which change results from run to run. You can see a breakdown by type. So currently we have one failing test in metadata compliance and all remaining tests are passing. Let's drill down into the failing test. Okay, so the one which is failing is visible columns have display folders. Okay, I don't think we have to fix it currently. Now here you can see full list of tests, currently grouped by type. And you can already see that Test Runner supports quite a few test types. Here you can quickly filter whether to passed tests or to failed ones or to flaky if there are some flaky tests. And if you want to explore history in more detail, you can go to history screen and see how runs were evolving recently and dive deeper if you need. Now, before we go into creating new tests, let's check out apply packs. This is something to get you started, so you are not starting from zero. There are a few test packs which are available that you can apply directly to your model right away. So one is related to metadata quality. You can see tests which it will generate here. Another one is documentation baseline. This is particularly important for AI to understand your model. Presentation hygiene, you can see that this one is applied already. Referential integrity, it will scan your model for the relationships and generate tests for absence of orphan keys for your relationship columns. Once you're ready to start setting up custom tests, you can navigate to new test. And here you will see all of the 8 types of tests that Test Runner supports. Let's start with measure assertion. Let's say you have a KPI card. Let me switch to the Power BI desktop and report. Let's say you have KPI card here for total revenue and you want to check that despite all of the changes that you're making to the model, total revenue for Q1 2025 stays consistent. So the expected result is 36K. Let's switch to Test Runner and set up this test. Measure assertion, total revenue 2025 Q2 or Q1. Let's select the measure and let's add evaluation context, right? Because in our case, we want to evaluate it against 2025 Q1. So we'll add one filter, date, year, 2025, and let's add another one for Q1. Quarter Q1. Okay, let's check the results. And yes, we can see that it shows 36K. So we're selecting equals 36K. Next, create test. And if you scroll down, we have this new test created. Total revenue 2025 Q1. We can run all tests and see that it has passed as expected. Another way, let's say you want to validate this visual. What you can do is you can enable Performance Analyzer and you can click this icon. It will run this visual and produce DAX for us. So let's click this, let's copy it, and we'll go to new test again, but instead of going to measure assertion, we'll go to DAX assertion. And maybe let's try to do it for Q2, total revenue 25 Q2. Let's paste the DAX. Let's change to Q2 here. And let's test the query. It ran correctly, produced one row, which is exactly what we need. Can go next, and the result is 32,800. Equals expected value, and we can create the test. Now, let's check more complicated case. Let's say you have some dimension which is stored in Excel file, as it often does, unfortunately, to this day. And what happens often is that someone can change something in that Excel file and suddenly your model starts to produce incorrect results. Okay, so what we will do is we will take this visual with customers' data, we'll run Performance Analyzer against it to get the DAX. Let's copy it. Let's go to Test Runner, but in this case, instead of DAX assertion, we want to assert snapshot, data snapshot, because what it returns a table. And we want to make sure that this table stays consistent, right? And if someone changes something in this table, it will fail the test. So let's go to regression snapshot. And let's name it customers data. Let's add our DAX here. You can also make it guided and go through, select the table, and it will generate DAX automatically. But in this case, we're trying to check against the specific visual. Okay, let's test the query and return 10 rows. And here, by default, select hash. What it does, it looks at the data and it generates string based on this data. And if the data changes, underlying data changes, that string will be different. And so by comparing those strings, it will know that data changed. You don't have to understand all of that for it to work. So by default, just select the hash. Let's capture the baseline of the current DAX. I did. And let's create the test. Okay, here's our test. Let's do run. It's passing. Now, let's see if it will fail once we change some data. What I will do is, let me go back here, We go here, here, and let's change just one number. Once you change the model, you will see in the app that model changed externally, and therefore you need to reload. This is to make sure that you're always running tests against the latest model. So let's reload and run tests again, and ideally it should fail now. And it did. It has failed. We can try changing it back. It will prompt to reload again because model has changed. And since we changed it back, it now passes. All right, let's set up performance test. Select performance budget, add some name, and let's select some measure that we can validate. It can be total revenue, and I will intentionally set very low thresholds so it fails. So let's select 5 milliseconds, 5 milliseconds, 5 milliseconds. This is super low and likely to fail. Next, let's create a test. We have it here at the top, and let's run all of the tests. And obviously, as you can see here, it has failed. Another type of test which is available here is row level security. Something very important, right? So you want to be sure that if you have row level security set up, users can only see certain data. Well, and this test type will help you be sure that your changes did not affect anything. So let's go through setting one up. Let's call it simply RLS, and let's see what I have in the model first. Here I have, let's navigate to manage roles. I have 3 roles: finance viewer, HR restricted, Europe sales. Albeit currently only Europe sales have some logic set up. For sales table, it should only see Europe. Let's validate that. What we want to do here is evaluate sales table, right? You can also set it up through the guided wizard here. Evaluate sales table, let's check the query, to 10 rows. Let's select the role which we want to evaluate it under, Europe sales. Now, since we're currently working with Power BI Desktop, you can only check row level security under specific role. However, you can also set up tests to evaluate under specific user, but those only supported for Power BI service. So currently, let's stick to the role. And let's go back to Power BI Desktop. Under Europe, we have 8 rows. Those are the only rows which user is supposed to see under this row. Therefore, we're selecting row count equals 8, and let's create the test. Here is the test. Let's run. And we see it's passing, which means user only sees those 8. Let's try to edit it. And let's switch to 9. And let's run again. And in this case, it started to fail because it now getting 8 rows, but expecting 9 rows. So in case something changes with your row level security, you will be first to know after running the test. And the last type of test is metadata compliance. It's a set of rules for your model to keep it nice and tidy, and also prepared for AI. So let's see what it allows us to set up. Compliance. Here you can select a few different rules or all of them. So measures requires descriptions, tables require descriptions, column descriptions, certain naming conventions, which you can specify here, having format in strings, having format with dynamic strings for measures, absence of calculated columns, hiding columns and relationships, and so on and so forth. Some very practical rules to keep your models consistent. And the last test type I want to show you is related to referential integrity. This is the reason for all of those blanks that you get in your slicers. Basically, it's when your dimension and your fact table does not align in values. And fact table has some values which dimensional table doesn't. You can either generate those automatically through apply pack, as I have shown you, or you can do it manually. So let's navigate to referential integrity. Let's add some name, doesn't matter. It will show you the relationships that you have in your model, and let's select sales and date key, because those do not align. Expected orphans, obviously 0. Let's create a test and let's run it. And you see it fails. I already had the same test here, which has failed. Let's go to Power BI model and see what's the reason for that. So we have a relationship between sales and dates. The dimension has dates from the beginning of 2025 until end of 2025. Let's go to sales, and here we'll see that I've added one row from 2026, and this is the reason those tests fail. Now, if I am to change it to 2025, let's do that. Let's go back to and reload the model and run those tests again. You will see that now they pass as it should. The test that you create in Test Runner app shared with SemanticOps MCP, and vice versa. You can ask AI to set up tests for your model, and the same tests will appear in Test Runner app once you start it. Moreover, once you deploy your model to Power BI service, if you connect to this model in Power BI service, you will see the same tests applied to this model. Let me show you. I will connect to the same model in Power BI service. Here, MCP engine demo. Let me switch to tests, and you see all of the same tests. Now we can run them. Obviously, working with Power BI service is slower, and we can see that in this case, since we're connected to Power BI service, 2 tests that were previously skipped were ran, and that's all for today. Subscribe and see you in the next one.